Is having anxiety a negative thing?
So if my anxiety is stopping me from doing the things I need to do in life, or stopping me from leaving the house or having a job, etc., then I have a clinical disorder, and by definition that's a bad thing. But the symptoms of anxiety and the actual symptoms of any given problem are not necessarily bad at all, and in fact sometimes are good. So anxiety, for example, can be a great thing if we're crossing the road and the car's suddenly coming at us tooting a horn, and we get anxious and we run out and away and we're safe. So anxiety is a good thing. Everyone gets anxious. We need to get anxious. And even anxiety at the level where some people are more generally anxious than others in life is not a bad thing. You know, someone who's quiet and shy and reserved and sits at home and likes to read, long novels or whatever. Great, that's they could have a wonderful life. So everyone's different. People are individuals. So the symptoms of anxiety are perfectly okay. It's when they start to affect a person's life and stop them from being able to do the things they want to do that we call it a clinical problem. And that is a bad thing, and that is something that we can change.
I don't think that anxiety disorder is negative. It is negative if you don't get it treated, because then children are missing out on entertainment, they're missing out on education, they're missing out on family fun, just doing anything. So that's the only negative part of it. But if you have an anxiety disorder and you get treatment, then it's not a negative thing.
I don't think having a mental illness or anxiety is a negative experience. At the time it certainly is. I think it's just part of being human, and I think it's been good looking back how things happened, even though I got anxiety when I was quite young, and then not being able to get some good help until I was maybe in my early 20s from a very good psychologist that I liked. It's been a positive, thing for me, because I've been able to do a lot of self-reflection. I know so much more about myself.
Look, I don't think it's a negative thing, because everyone has anxiety. I mean, even coming to talk to you today, it's an anxious experience, but it hasn't stopped me from talking to you. So I think it's innate in us, in that it's okay to be nervous, it's okay to be a little scared. It's not okay if it stops us from doing the best that we can.
That I needed to know that it wasn't anyone's fault. I used to try to find whose fault is this that my child has anxiety. So just to say that it isn't anyone's fault is probably a useful thing to remember.
That's a really good point, an important point. And I think one of the problems in our society, both in society but also then in newspapers and sometimes from therapists, is that they fall into that trap, and they'll say things like, well, you're anxious because your parents divorced early, or you're anxious because your mother was an alcoholic or whatever. And that's not true. We know it's not true. Having any sort of anxiety disorder or any disorder is a combination of a whole range of different factors, many of which we don't really understand.